Welcome back to another episode of the HMA Fantasy Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Hewgley, joined again, always, maybe forever, by Dysen Gould. How you doing, Dysen?
Good. How about yourself today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just, again, living through this quarantine and bored out of my mind. So, good to talk wrestling.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. Last show we did 125 and 133. On our quest to go through all the brackets that came out for NCAA's and talk about our picks and who we think would win, and just really kind of talk a little bit of wrestling while we got this downtime and people have nothing to do. And I know that I'm running out of podcasts to listen to, so might as well listen to something and kind of fantasize about what we could have seen happen in Minneapolis. I have the stadium behind me. I really wish we would have been able to see it happen in the football stadium. What do you think? How do you think that would have been?
Yeah, Jacob he missed it so much. He had to fly up to Minneapolis just to take that feeling. Just could have said it so he could say he was in Minneapolis even though he wasn't watching wrestling.
Hey, man, I'm still quarantined. There's nobody in here.
He's talking about wrestling in the football stadium, so that counts.
There's nobody in here. I'm still maintaining my social distance. But yeah, man. So let's jump into it. What we're gonna do today. We're actually gonna go through 4 weights. So we're gonna do 141 through 165. And I think in order to make it a little bit, more pleasing to the ear, and have a little bit better conversations instead of yesterday we went through every single match on the bracket, and I think most of us can agree that there's very few matches in that first round that are really good matches. They're great wrestlers, top 33 guys in the nation, but for the most part that first round is kind of easy to pick. There's going to be a couple matches, but I figured we would kind of just run through that first round and hit a couple of highlight matches if there are any, but not really do too much in that first round. Does that sound cool to you, Dysen?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to start sharing my screen so that we can pop up brackets on this thing. So starting at 141, here is my bracket. Let me move our faces down to the bottom. There we go. But here's my bracket at 141. 41 was fun and not fun to pick for me because this thing's never going to happen. So it's kind of hard to pick these crazy upsets and say something because we can say whatever we want, but we don't know. But for the most part, there's not a whole lot of shakeup. There's a lot of matches where we've seen these guys wrestle before and kind of know what's going to happen. What did you think about 41?
I think it was it's a pretty stacked bracket. There's a couple. When I was filling it out, you really don't. All the brackets are completely stacked. You don't even think about it until you start filling them out like this. And then you get down to the blood round and stuff, you're like, holy crap, some of these guys aren't placing. You got Lee Wilson in the second round, you can see there that Mirren and Key second round, matches like that are just crazy first couple round matches.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Second round matches are insane in this bracket for sure. So just kind of briefly looking over the first round, like I said, we're not going to talk about all of them, but one match that kind of stood out to me is that second match up at the top, about 44, is going to be number 17 Grant Leith and number 16 Evan Cheek. I think a lot of people kind of heard the name Grant Leith. He's the ripped up dude that wears a neck brace from Missouri, and he's been around for a little bit. He is an All-American. He's had kind of a tough year this year, 15-5. That kind of led him to that 17 seed. But he's an All-American, right? And so he can really bust up this bracket. Yeah, and then
I sent you down there.
Another guy that you might not know too much about is Evan Cheek sitting at that 16 seed from Cleveland State. A lot of people don't know much about him because he's from Cleveland State, but 36-5, this guy wrestled like crazy all year, and he was a fantasy machine. He was always in my fantasy previews every week because he just tore people up all year. And this is a really good match, round one. I would have loved to see it play out, but at the end of the day, who you picking, Dyson?
I'm going to pick Leith. I think his record's probably a little bit low because I think he was out of the season a little bit with red shirts. That might be, not red shirt, injury. That might be why his seed is like that. But I think he's definitely a tough wrestler, and I think he gets that win against Cheek.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got the same thing. I got Leith. Like you said, injury is a little bit of a concern, but a guy of his caliber, even battling a little bit of an injury, I'm going to take him over Cheek. The next one that I kind of wanted to point out, and I think I want to point it out mainly because me and you picked differently. If you jump down about 48, you have Dresden Simon from Central Michigan at the 12 seed. And then at the 21 seed, you have Cody Tribus from Navy. I saw on your bracket, Dyson, that you picked Simon, right?
Yeah.
Cool. What you want to give me a little insight into what your decision was?
I think maybe just a little bit better record, probably just a little bit more consistent this year. I think Navy guys, Tribus always tough, but I think Simon beats him out first round.
Yeah, and I definitely, like, first glance, I thought Simon, and then it kind of hit me, and I realized that Tribus won EIWAs last week, and so I think a guy that hasn't necessarily had all the high praise and hasn't been one of the top names, but coming into the NCAA tournament as a first-time national qualifier, and coming off an EIWA title, I think that says a lot, and I think he's coming in hot. And so I actually ended up picking Tribus to pass on to the next round. And there are a couple of good matches left in this round, and I'll go through a couple of them. But one of the ones that kind of stuck out to me too, and is another difference for me and you, is bout 49. We have number 13 Michael Blockus from UNI and number 20 Kyle Shoup from Lock Haven. Shoup is a returning All-American, and Blockus I don't believe is, right.
I don't think so either.
But so here's another place where we had a difference. I ended up actually taking Kyle Shoup. And so I have Kyle Shoup, and I actually have Kyle Shoup making all the way to the semifinals, if you can see on my bracket. And the reason I did that, Kyle Shoup has not had the greatest year, but he didn't have a fantastic, amazing year of the year All-American. He kind of came to the tournament and put stuff together, and his superpowers, he's just a monster on top. Right, and so he's able to get in that top position and turn people and do a lot of good things from there. So I ended up picking Shoup in this match.
Yeah, I took Blockus. I think he's just been real tough this year, and his record's a little bit low, but I think he's been he had a good season. I took him over Shoup.
Yeah, and really the last one I really want to talk about is just real quick. Number 3, Real Woods. Number 30, Sedarian Perry. Perry is also a returning All-American that is sitting at the 30 seed, right? And so, what do you see going on here?
Yeah, I think this is a crazy good first round match. You got Real Woods, who's been a freshman on fire this year, 19-1. But then Sedarian Perry has been around a couple years and real good 30 seed, getting matched up with Real Woods first round. If I was Real Woods, I would not be happy about that first round matchup being a 3 seed.
Yeah, not at all. But I think either way, I'm taking the Stanford Cardinal here. What about you?
Yeah, I got Woods as well.
Yeah. Cool. There's a couple other ones in here, but down at the end, just kind of a quick mention. We have Tyreek Wilson and Mitch Moore Mitch Moore has done really well this year at Virginia Tech, but I'm going to take Tariq there. Tariq the Freak had a magical run a couple of years ago, making it to the semifinals, only to get his streak ended in overtime by Seth Gross. But I'm taking Tariq the Freak in the about 57 match down at the bottom. How about you?
Yeah, I got Tariq as well.
Cool. All right, moving on to the next round. So next round, up at the top, Pletcher Leith. This is a match that a year or two ago, if you'd asked me, I really would have had a hard time picking. And I would have kind of went back and forth and tried to figure out, maybe more like game plan, like who has the better game plan might win this match, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the way that these guys have been trending this year, Leith with the injuries, Pletcher just on a completely new level from the rest of his career. I'm taking Pletcher in this match, probably by a major decision.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. Pletcher by major decision as well. He's just been on fire this year, and his reshots are unbelievable.
Yeah,
take Pletcher.
Oh yeah, short offense, reshots. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Next, we're gonna jump down Moran Heil. Heil from Campbell, been doing really well these past couple of years. Had really great seasons. He's been a guy that's been kind of right there at All-American every year, but just hadn't been able to get it done. Tristan Moran, Wisconsin, has also had a great career. Started off at Oklahoma State and is ending his career as a Badger. And I'm taking him to take out Mr. Heil in this round.
Yeah, I got Moran as well. I think maybe just that Big Ten schedule, real tough being ready for the national tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Next round, we have I have Demas and Tribus. You have Demas and Simon. Either way, I think we're both going to take Dom, right?
Yeah, I got Dom probably by a major decision, 6-0 win, if not a major decision, something like that, controlled win.
Yeah, absolutely. You might inside trip him to death, but in that next round, going down to 200, about 200, you're looking at Blockus and Parker. How do you see that hanging out or shaping up?
I got Parker beating Blockus. I believe they wrestled earlier this year, but actually, I do have it written down. Parker beat him by decisions in the duel, and then he also beat him by decision 4-0 at Big 12. So I think that result will stay, and I think it'll be a good match, but I think Parker gets him.
Yeah. Cool, man. So that's actually where I differ right here, right? So this match right here, I have Kyle Shoup actually against Ian Parker, and I actually have Kyle Shoup taking out Ian Parker. Ian Parker has looked very good this year, and we're talking this match right here. Ian Parker has looked very good this year, but again, I think that top game that Shoup's got going on is really something special, and I could see him taking out a guy like Parker that's kind of been, fringe All-American material. I can see Shoup taking him out there. Jumping down to the bottom side of the bracket, we got Real Woods and Dusty Hone. Hone's had a really great season for the Cowboys this year, but it's going to end here. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think Woods beat possible major decision there, and I think he beats Hone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking major, looking bonus points right here for Real Woods taking out Dusty Hone. The next match, which is actually kind of an exciting match, is Chad Red, Zach Sherman. Zach Sherman out of Blair Academy has had a great sophomore campaign this year. He's taken out, Tariq Wilson, taken out a bunch of other really good guys. He's the ACC champion, and he is looking good coming in. But then you got a guy like Chad Red, who is a 2-time All-American sitting in his junior year, could possibly be a 4-time All-American, if this tournament were to happen. And his problem first 2 years was he had kind of a slow season, and then jumped into the national tournament and just caught fire. But in his junior season, he kind of turned that around. He's kind of caught fire at the beginning of the year, and he's been hot all year. He's looked really good all year. I would love to have seen this match go down, but I can see Chad Red winning this match pretty handily. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Red can get some bonus points here. He's been flashy and on fire all year long, just getting big wins.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the cradle is a very big threat with Chad Red.
Yeah.
But jumping down 203, we got Max Murin and Mitch McKee. This match has happened, I think, 4 times, and I believe McKee has won it 3 out of 4. So this was really hard for me because I feel like Max Murin has looked very good this year, and I would love to see him pull this one out. But at the end of the day, like I did yesterday, if there's a match that's happened 4 times and one guy's won 3 of those, I kind of got to go with that guy. So I'm going to take Mitch McKee and that crazy head pinch he's got to take out the Hawkeye in this round.
Yeah, I got Murin. I think his offense has just been clicking this year, and he's been on fire. He beat McKee in the duel, I believe, 6-4 in Sun victory, and then he lost 3-1 at Big Ten. So real close both matches. So go either way. It's going to be a real good, but would have been a real good match either way. I'm taking Murin though.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it going either way. That's another one that I really wish we could have been able to see. But jumping down 204, we've got Tariq Wilson and Nick Lee. And in past years, I would have if this was the same bracket, but last year, I would have definitely said, watch out, upset special here. Tariq can do it. But Nick Lee has been on another level this year. He has really put himself above the pack. Him and Pletcher really just kind of are on their own, with the exception of maybe a Real Woods, which we think he's in their league because we saw that close match with Pletcher, but he hasn't really wrestled the same competition, so it's hard to really figure out where he's at. But I'm taking Nick Lee over Tariq.
Yeah, I think like you said, I got those 3 are definitely the top 3. Maybe just Lee Pletcher top 2, but I think Woods has a chance to beat them guys. But I got Lee over Wilson this first round, or not first round, second round.
Cool, man. Jumping back up to the top, we got Pletcher versus Moran. Luke Pletcher coming in the 1 seed, hot off that win over Nick Lee in the Big Ten Finals. Mitch Moran has wrestled great this year. He's been, in all kinds of crazy, weird positions, and he really kind of thrives in that like awkward, scrambly positions. But unfortunately, that's not something that Pletcher ever gets in. Right? He finishes crisp and clean, and I think that while I think in Tristan Moran's senior year, I have him ending up finally getting that All-American honor. But he's not going to take out Pletcher here, so he'll have to be a backside warrior.
Yeah, I definitely got Pletcher as well. He's been on fire this year, like we said before, and I just think he even majored Moran in duel possibly. I think he can definitely get some bonus points in this match.
Yeah. Yep. So we both got Pletcher there. Moving down to the bottom, I have Demas Shoop right here, and right here so I really like this quarter of the bracket, right? So this whole quarter right here of the bracket is really set up to be an awesome showdown, because we have a bunch of guys that are good but not really proven this year, right? Shoop is the returning All-American, so is Dom Demas, but for me, Demas looked fantastic last year, right? He inside tripped Nick Lee to death like 6 times. But I think that people have kind of started to figure it out this year. Ian Parker beat him in sudden victory, I think, in the Big 12 finals. And I think he just, every time I've watched him wrestle this year, he just hasn't looked like the same guy as last year. So for me, between him and Shoop, that has also not really looked like the same guy, I think I'm going to take the monster on top over the kind of inside trip dependent Demas. So I'm taking Shoop to bust through the semifinals and become an All-American again.
Yeah, I got Parker Demas in this one, and I'm gonna take Parker because, like you said, Parker beat him in a sudden victory at Big 12s in the finals. And like you said, Demas hasn't really had that great of a year as maybe he did last year.
Yeah, for sure. Down to the bottom, oh man, a match I would have freaking loved to see is Real Woods Chad Red. I think that would be just poised for fireworks. And I wanted so badly to pick Red here. I don't know. What did you think?
I really thought about it as well. I think, like you said, this would be a really flashy fireworks match. Maybe it's like both these guys are just real flashy and fast, explosive, scrambling. You never know what's going to happen with these two. When we get both of them on the same mat, you can get some crazy fireworks. But I got Woods. I think he's just been a little bit better this year. I think the freshman's able to prevail and get to the semifinals.
Yeah, I really wanted to pick Red. I think Reds look great this year. It just, it ended up, I kept having flashbacks to that Luke Pletcher match. And although he lost, he looked great. And in sudden victory coming out of that scramble, I even thought at one point that Woods had gotten behind for the two. And so with that close of a match with Luke Pletcher, and just seeing how high above the field Pletcher is from everybody, I ended up taking Woods here. And the last quarterfinal we have down at the bottom is also going to could be a fun one, but really wasn't this year. Mitch McKee, Nick Lee, I thought it was going to be a really fun one in the duel. Ended up kind of being a one-sided beat down by Nick Lee, and I see no other reason to pick otherwise this time. So, Nick Lee.
Yeah, I think bonus points for Nick Lee.
Yeah. And then going back up to the top, we got our semifinal showdowns. I got Luke Pletcher and Kyle Shoup. I think while this is, possibly the top four guys in the weight class here, I think that whoever comes out of that 4 seed, quadrant right there is probably going to get beat up on by Luke Pletcher. So I see Luke Pletcher by major decision making his way to his first finals appearance.
Yeah, I got Ian Parker against him, but I'm going to take Pletcher by major over Parker.
Yeah. And then down at the bottom, another match that I really would have loved to see happen, just because of the unknown factor, is Real Woods versus Nick Lee. And right here, I had a really hard time, and I kept going back and forth, and I wanted to pick the Stanford Cardinal here because I love how he wrestles, and he wrestles with such a joy and a love and a passion for the sport. And I've watched interviews with him, and he's a great kid. I'm excited to watch his career unfold. I just, like Luke Pletcher, Nick Lee has also been on another level this year, from his past couple of years. And so I got Nick Lee winning this one. Maybe 1-2 points, maybe a sudden victory win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a real close match. I think, as Wood showed at the beginning of the year, he hung with Pletcher, almost beat him in overtime. I think he can hang with Lee as well. Yeah.
And then we got in the finals. So the finals, me and you are different. We had the same people in the finals, but we are different here. So, interested to see you picked Pletcher, right? I picked Lee. I don't think either one of them is a crazy pick, right? It could go either way. In fact, this is the rubber match. What did you see to shift your view over to Pletcher?
I've picked Pletcher both the last 2 times. I was right one time, wrong the other. And I think I'll just stick with what I've been saying the last 2 times I picked him. I think he's so hard to finish on. Well, I guess in the dual league did finish pretty easy on him, but I guess he's just so hard to finish on. His legs are so big and strong, and then he's got crazy re-attacks and reshots and short offense, like we were saying earlier. I just think he's able to get to his offense and beat Lee for the second time.
Yeah. So this one was really hard for me. I could go either way. When they first met in the duel, I picked Nick Lee. I thought Nick Lee was just going to have too much offense for him and be too long and lanky. It ended up working out that way. But then, Pletcher flipped the script in the Big Ten Finals, and I picked Lee in the Big Ten Finals, and Pletcher flipped the script, looked great, kind of picked him apart a little bit, and really handled his own. And so I think that it's probably a safe assumption to pick not a safe assumption, but like a smart assumption to pick Pletcher going into this match. because of how good he looked in that Big Ten finals. For me, I think they're so even to me that my deciding factor was the Kale factor. I ended up looking at it and I thought, I remember the last couple of years seeing Buckeyes in the finals coming up short, just not getting there, right? And so Pletcher's got to have that in the back of his mind, seeing, McKenna, Michael Jordan, Bo Jordan, seeing all these guys make it to the finals, Miles Martin coming up short. And so whereas on the other end of the stick, you have Nick Lee, who is seeing all of his teammates become 1, 2, 3-time national champions, right? And so they're just at a different level. As the Iowa fan of me hates to say it, right? But Penn State and what Kale's got going on over there is just really on a different level from people. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing or a preparation or what. But with a match this close, I ended up taking Nick Lee.
You want to get through the consies real quick? Our blood round going on.
Yeah. So let's just kind of let's hit who our All-Americans are, and then maybe any kind of matches that you have. Actually, no. What you said. Let's go blood round all the way to third place, and let's just kind of go quickly. What do you got?
I got Demas over McKee, Moran over Sherman, Mirren over Blockus, Red over Leith, and then I got Demas over Moran, Red over Mirren, then Woods over Demas and Red over Parker. I got Mirren beating Moran for 7th, Parker beating Demas for 5th, and Woods beating Red for 3rd.
Yeah. So I got, losing out in the blood round. I have Dom Demas, returning freshman All-American, losing out in the blood round. I've got Zach Sherman losing out in the blood round. I really wanted to pick my Tar Heel here, but I have him against Tristan Moran, and I just couldn't. And then I have Mitch McKee beating Ian Parker in the blood round, and I have Chad Red beating Grant Leith. And then if you jump over to the placement matches, I have McKee over Moran for 7th, and then I have Shoop over Murin for 5th, Woods over Red for 3rd.
So who'd you have Shoop beating in the blood rounds?
Actually, I had Shoop dropping down from the semifinals. Right?
So yeah.
Console semis. Cool. So that's 141. That's kind of wrapping up that bracket. Let's get moving on because we kind of got a time crunch. 149, the crazy bracket. I know that we're very different on this here. And so let's even speed it up a little bit, right? So let's kind of point out anything prior to quarters, but let's talk mostly in the quarters, semis, and finals.
Yeah, sounds good.
So looking down through this one, there's some good first round matches. Jared Prince, Brock Mahler stands out to me. The reason Jared Prince is ranked so lowly is because he kind of came in late to the season. So that could be a good one. You got Jared Verclaren and Andrew Alirez. Verclaren's kind of been picking up steam. Alirez, a freshman phenom. And then you have Yaya Thomas, Matthew Kolodzik is a big one right there at the about 70. But those matches for me kind of all go chalk. How about you?
Yeah, same. We were looking down through. We both had the same all the way through. So
cool. And so punching their way into the quarterfinals, I have Lugo over Perriott. I have Purinton over Dagan at the top. What do you got in those two matches?
I have Lugo over Perriott and Dagan over Purinton.
Cool. You got Dagan over Purinton. Why'd you pick Dagan over Purinton?
I think Dagan's maybe a little bit more proven. Returning All-American last year. I just think he pulls out that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see it going that way. For me, I ended up picking Purinton because Purinton's coming off, just a hot win streak. I mean, he took 3rd in the Big Ten, taking out Brayton Lee in that match, and just looked really good. And so it could go either way. I chose to pick Purinton. Dropping down to that next quadrant, I have Llewellyn over Polmeyer. And then I have Mahler over Thompson. How about you?
I have the same as you.
Cool. And then down to the third quadrant, I have Sasso over Alirez, probably in a tight match. I could see an upset there for sure. But I got Sasso over Alirez, and then I have Kolodzik over Brock Zackrell. Sorry to Brock, who might be actually listening to this. I would have loved to see that match. I think that's a really good tight match there. But I have Kolodzik edging it out on the end. What about you?
Yeah, I have Sasso over Alirez. Like you said, that could have been an upset. But Kolodzik Zackrell, I really looked at that one. I thought about that one for a while. I almost took Zackrell, but I was like, yeah, Kolodzik.
I think that would be a really good, actually, quarterfinal match. Normally, but since Kolodzik came in kind of late, his seed at 6, I think, is lower than it should be. And so I think it sucks that match had to happen that early.
Yeah.
But I could see it going either way. Oh, I missed a spot. But down here, my next quadrant, I have Lee over Store. So you guys know. So right in here, I got Lee over Store. And then I have O'Connor over Clark. How about you?
I got the same as you.
Cool. Either way, even with my mess up, I still let's go back up this way in the quarterfinals. So down at the bottom in the first or the last quarterfinal, I guess, I have O'Connor taking out Brayton Lee. And I see that as probably starting off as a good match, but O'Connor is just so heavy on that head. And he just is so aggressive, pushing forward, moving. He's got to be super tiring to wrestle.
Yeah, I got O'Connor over Lee as well. I think, like you said, he's just so tiring to wrestle, beating down on the head and stuff. I think there's possible bonus towards the end if he can keep going. I think Lee can wear off and you can get some bonus.
Yeah, so I actually had I'm a high school wrestling coach, and this summer, I live a mile from UNC's campus, and I actually run a UNC clinic every year. And so UNC will come over to my high school, and they set up shop and they run a clinic all day. And it's really good for all the kids in the area because they get to come and pay like $40 or something, cheap, and get to learn wrestling from some of the best wrestlers in D1 right now. And I actually had Austin O'Connor and Jamie Hernandez come. And so we spent the whole day learning that like front head series that O'Connor does. And so it was really cool to learn that from him. And he's a cool guy, and I have high hopes for him in his career. So I got him passing on to that round, beating Brayton Lee. Jumping up one in the quarterfinals, I have Sasso and Kolodzik. Everyone's super high on Sasso. I think Sasso is great. I really do. I think that he's going to be a great wrestler over his career. He certainly has potential to win this bracket. Certainly has potential to win any of the brackets he's in. But I'm going to take proven Matthew Kolodzik from Princeton to take out Sammy Sasso in this round. And for me, I think it's a controlled decision. I can see like a 7-3 or something like that.
Yeah, I actually got Sasso in this one. I think Kolodzik maybe out most of the year. He was on Olympic veteran and they pulled it like halfway through. I think that might. I don't know if I was gonna say it hurt him, but now I think about it, maybe not. But it could possibly just not being prepared for the national tournament, which I'm sure he would be. But Sasso's just been through the Big Ten meat grinder and been through it all. And Cliff Keen, Las Vegas. I think Sasso comes in more ready and got more of the big matches under his belt, and I think he gets Kolodzik.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see it going either way. And I definitely had to think about, like you said, him coming in on short notice. But at the end of the day, I've just seen Sasso wrestle so many close matches. He's not really a guy that likes to bust it open. And Kolodzik, aside from like the IWAs where he had some pretty, good competition, he kind of beat on people when he came back. And so, I'm going to take the guy that's been more consistently just beating on people and not having these super close 1-point matches every match. And the guy that's been there and done it. So I got Kolodzik. Jumping up, match that I was super excited to see when it first happened. We had Lawal and Mahler. I was super excited to see that match. It did happen, but Mahler kind of controlled the match and won pretty easily, and so I got Mahler moving on this time. Same thing.
I got Mahler as well.
Cool. And then up at the top, I have Lugo Purinton, and Lugo, just those underhooks, and he's looked like a different guy this year. And I'm obviously, like we said, I'm an Iowa fan. I love Iowa, but Lugo has been kind of disappointing to me his career at Iowa. I think that he has a lot of potential. He's a lot of talent. He just hasn't kind of shown up, right? Every time he just kind of seems like the guy that gets in the match and gets up by a couple points and just kind of is satisfied with being up by a couple points and stops. I think if he really unleashed and let it fly, I think that he's the best guy in this bracket. But with that being said, I think that he's better than Purinton. I think he's been wrestling great so far, and I don't have it stopping quite yet. So I got Lugo over Purinton.
Yeah, I got Lugo over Purinton as well. Like you said, he's just been a different guy this year. Hammering those underhooks, and Lee Wallen, he just pushed over, pretty much horsepowered him right over and pinned him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then semifinals. So semifinals, let's go Lugo Mahler first. What's your pick there?
Lugo. I think, like I said, just different guy. I think he was poised to win a national title. I think he was just I think maybe his mindset adjustment he made over the offseason or something, but something just clicked from last year and this year, I think. And I think he's just a different wrestler this year, and just he's been pretty dominant. Like you said, maybe not bonus point wise, but he's been winning. He's been winning matches and busting them out. And I just think he gets the job done in these semis against Mahler.
Absolutely. And I can definitely see that. And when I first looked at the bracket, I thought Lugo, but thinking about it a little bit more, Lugo to me, again, like you said, he's looked so much better this year, and I'm pulling for him, and I hope that he would have done well in this bracket and possibly won it. But for me, it's just been kind of the whole year just been kind of waiting to see when's Lugo going to slip up again. It's like, when's he going to be old Lugo? When's he going to be old Lugo? Like he's wrestling great, but I just don't know how long it's going to last, right? And against a guy like Mahler in the semifinals on the big stage, I think Mahler gets it done. And the reason I picked Mahler here is because the guys that Lugo's been beating, right? The Sassos, the Llewellyns, the big names that he's been beating this year, the Brayton Lees, those guys all have a kind of a similar style where they're kind of, pushing forward. They're not like taking a million shots. They're kind of picking their spots. And Lugo's able to control matches like that. Mahler is a different animal. He's a very dynamic wrestler, right? He has all kinds of ankle picks and good shots, and he's long and lanky and fast, and he's just very different. And I think the style matchup here favors Mahler. And so I ended up taking Brock Mahler. I'm going to say it's a sudden victory takedown. Jumping down to the bottom semifinal, another match that I would have loved to see happen. It actually has happened in the past. Kolodzik O'Connor, last time they wrestled was a year or 2 years ago. It's been a while. Early on in O'Connor's career, Kolodzik actually got the win. I think it was like 3-1, 3-2. But I have it switching this time. I got the Tar Heel taking out the Princeton Tiger. And for me here, again, this is where that short season came into effect for me. Like you said, Dysen, is, he kind of jumped in on short notice. And while I think that personally, I think Kolodzik might be the most talented wrestler in the bracket, I think him coming in on short notice and having a really, really, really tough road to get to this point, going through Yaya, Zackrell, Sasso to get to O'Connor. I think that O'Connor's, front head offense and is just constantly just beating on him is going to wear on him. And I think O'Connor wins a close match here.
Yeah, I got Sasso and O'Connor. I got Sasso over O'Connor. I think Sasso's been I think he's just real fast and explosive and flashy. I think he's been pretty dominant this year, coming in with a 24-3 record. I think he gets to win over O'Connor.
Cool. So in the finals, you have Lugo and Sasso,
They
right?
have completely different guys.
Yeah, you got Lugo and Sasso. How do you see a Lugo Sasso final going?
I think Lugo gets his revenge this time. I guess he beat him at Big
It's a
Ten.
rubber match. Yeah.
But I think Lugo gets him, and he wrestled a good match against him in the Big Ten finals, so I think he can keep that and wrestle that match again. I think he gets him.
Yeah. If that ends up being the finals, I'm right there with you. If we see a Lugo Sasso final, I'm picking Lugo. But for me, I have a completely different final. I have Brock Mahler and Austin O'Connor. These two met in the third place match last year at NCAA's. Super close match. Austin O'Connor came out on top and just kind of looked dominant in that match. You know, it was one of those matches that was like a 1 or a 2 point match, but one guy just kind of looked better than the other guy. And so for that reason, I'm taking Austin O'Connor. Maybe a little bit of a homer pick, but I'm a big O'Connor fan. I love what the Tar Heels got going on over there, and it's about time that UNC gets another national champion. So Austin O'Connor takes the crown at 149 for me. What do you got? Backside.
Backside, I got in the blood rounds. I got Llewellyn over Storr, Zackrell over Degan, Lee over Thompson, Kolodzik over Purinton, and then I got Llewellyn over Zackrell, Kolodzik over Lee, Llewellyn over O'Connor. Oh, no, never mind. O'Connor over Lee, Llewellyn. And then Kolodzik over Mahler. And then I got for seventh, I got Brayton Lee over Zackrell. Fifth, I got Mahler over Llewellyn. And then for third, I got O'Connor over Kolodzik.
Yeah.
The only, looking at it, the only All-American spot we have the same is Zackrell at 8.
Yeah. So I got like the guys I have losing in the blood round. I have Storr coming up short in the blood round. I have Purinton, Thompson, and Degan all coming up short in the blood round. And moving on, I have Sasso falling to Brayton Lee. And then I have Llewellyn taking out Brock Zackrell. And after that, I got Llewellyn being upended by Kolodzik, and I have Lee being upended by Lugo. So I have, if you can see on the screen, I have number 3 Kolodzik taking out Lugo. I have 5th place Llewellyn taking out Brayton Lee, and I got 7th place Sammy Sasso taking out Brock Zackrell, who gets on the podium. Very, very cool. I think this bracket was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I would have loved to see this one play out. If we got to pick just one bracket, it would probably been this one for me.
Either this or 33. Probably this, actually. Yeah, I'd probably pick this over 33.
I mean, I think 33 is awesome. It'd have been a super fun to watch, right? Because you got those kind of top 4 guys that are really good, and you'd like to see them battle it out. But for me here, dude, there's probably 6 people that I could see winning this bracket, and I wouldn't if you were like Boo Llewellyn catches fire and wins this bracket, I would not be surprised, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. This one's a lot of fun, and I would have loved to see it happen.
At 33, you pretty much have your top guys: Rivera, RBY, DeSanto, Gross, maybe Tucker, but not really. And then it's just those top 4. And then this one, who knows who's going to win? Who can win? Lugo, Mahler, Kolodzik, O'Connor, Sasso, Llewellyn.
Yeah. Absolutely. Jumping over to 57. This one's going to be fun to talk about too. Up in the top quadrant, I've got passing on to the second round, Deacon, Franek, Teamer, and Young. How about you?
I got that as well.
Cool. Second quadrant, I have Monday, Hartman, Robb, and Delavecchia.
Got that.
Yep. And then down at the bottom, Carr, Jacques, Sheets, and Coleman winning their first round matches. And the very last quadrant, I have Humphreys, Lawan, Early, and Hidley.
Got that.
Cool. So we got everyone in the first round the exact same. Now, in that second round, I have in that first quadrant, I have Deacon over Franek. I think it's by major decision because Deacon has just been on fire this year.
Yeah.
And then I have Ja'Cory Teamer taking out Caleb Young. For me, this one is just the battle of the different trending directions, right? Young's been trending down. Teamer's been catching fire. And so I have Teamer taking out Caleb Young. How about you?
I got Young. I think Caleb will be able to slow down Teamer's explosiveness and slickness. I think he'll be able to slow him down, and I think he gets the win.
Yeah, I mean, it could absolutely go either way. I just went with the hot hand. But you got Deacon and Teamer you got Deacon and Young in the quarters, and I have Deacon and Teamer.
Yeah.
Cool. Jumping down, I have Monday taking out Marcus Hartman of Army. I think Quincy has looked great this year. He's only been stopped 4 times, and it's all been by good dudes, right? And so I got Quincy Monday, who's looked great this year, to take out Marcus Hartman. How about you?
I got Hartman, actually. You weren't too happy about this pick, but I got Hartman over Monday. I think he's looked real good this year in his freshman year. I'm definitely going to take Hartman. I think Army guy, military, real tough. I'm going to go with him over Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, no, man. I got Monday making a run to the semifinals. I like I said, I'm a high school wrestling coach. I just recently moved schools, so I've been the head coach for the last 4 or 5 years at my old school, and now I'm stepping into an assistant role with a long-term coach over at my new school. And at my new school, it's actually the school that Quincy Monday went to. So if you don't know, Quincy Monday was a 4-time state champion. He won his first 2 in Texas when they lived there with Kennedy. And then, the family moved to North Carolina to support Kennedy at UNC. And Monday moved to my high school and won 2 state titles there. So pulling for him, and I have him making a good run in this tournament. Jumping down, I have Peyton Robb versus Jesse Della Vecchia. And I have Peyton Robb taking out the number 4 seed, Jesse Della Vecchia. For me, this one is Robb looked great at Big Tens. He looks so good, and I think that he's poised for at least one upset. So I definitely gave him this one. How about you?
Yeah, I took Della Vecchia, but I was really high on Robb this year. Freshman, he looked real good. Having close matches with some of the top guys, and I really think it's definitely a possibility to beat Della Vecchia, but I think Della Vecchia keeps the season going for this a little bit longer.
Yeah. Cool. Jumping down to the third one. I have Carr taking out Jacques and Coleman taking out Sheets.
I got that as well.
Cool. And then in the fourth quadrant, Humphreys taking out Lawan for me, and Hidley getting his revenge over Larry Early.
Got that. And that Hewgley Early match would have been a real good one. We met early in the year, like first week or something, when NC State dueled Old Dominion. It was a great match. I think 1 or 2 point match.
Yeah, it's for some reason, you always have these really top guys that have like that one random guy that gives them trouble. And I mean, not random guy, Larry Early's a returning All-American. But, Larry Early is always the guy that gives Hewgley problems. And so, it could happen, but it's not going to. I got Hewgley. Up in the quarterfinals, up at the top, Deacon Teamer for me. I have Deacon taking out Teamer. You have Deacon Young.
I think I got Deacon, but I think Young beat him last year in the quarters and then beat him for 5th. I think Caleb might have something for Deacon. Just Deacon has trouble with him maybe, but I think Deacon's just been on another level this year, just looking unbelievable. I think he beats Caleb.
If you would have just said Caleb Young takes out Ryan Deacon here, I probably would have just logged off. Because while I agree with you, last year Young took out Deacon in the national tournament twice. This is a different year and completely different dudes. Deacon has looked like an animal this year. And Caleb Young, for whatever reason, maybe it's a hard weight cut. We know it's a hard weight cut, but for whatever reason, he just doesn't look the same this year. And so, either way, you had Young, I have Teamer. Deacon's going to win this match and make it to the semifinals. Down to the second quadrant right there, I have Monday and Rob. And so if it comes down to Monday and Rob, these are two young guys that have really stepped it up and done well this year. I would love to pick Peyton Robb. I, in fact, almost did. But like I said, I like Quincy Monday a lot, and so I went with the Princeton Tiger here to make the semifinals.
Yeah, I have Hartman Delvecchia. I think Hartman beats Delvecchia, like I said. He's had a great season of freshman, a couple big wins.
So you got Hartman in the semifinals with Deacon?
Yeah. And also, awesome. I forgot to mention, Hartman took out Monday at Midlands this year.
Yeah, that's the past. Cool. So we'll get down to the third place, or not third place, the third quadrant. I have David Carr taking out Kendall Coleman. Man, there's a bunch of great freshmen in this weight. This David Carr, Kendall Coleman, both freshmen, and both could be very good. And I have David Carr winning the match over Coleman.
There aren't any seniors in this weight, I don't think. Like, at least the top guys, like Hewgley, Carr, Coleman. None of those Deacon, none of those guys are seniors.
Nope.
But I got Carr over Coleman. I think this would be a real fun match. Both guys, freshmen, had a great season, real fast, explosive guys, great scramblers, and just kind of like that Real Woods Chad Red match we were talking about. You never know what's going to happen. It could be a lot of fireworks. But I got Carr.
I think this one's going to be crazy. I think they're going to just roll around and do all kinds of weird stuff, but I got Carr coming out on top. Down at the bottom, Hewgley and Humphreys. Hewgley wins this match, controlled decision.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the semifinals, Ryan Deacon taking on Quincy Monday for me. For me, it doesn't matter who this guy is in the semifinals opposite of Deacon. Unless his name is Hewgley, he is not going to touch Ryan Deacon. And so Ryan Deacon moves on to the finals.
I got Hartman, but like you said, Deacon's going to run right through him.
Yep. Down at the bottom, could actually be an interesting match. And I can't remember, did Hewgley and Carr hit? I don't think they did.
Me and Sam were looking this up yesterday. No, it was Carr Deacon in the
Carr Deacon. Quarters. Yeah,
and Deacon beat him up.
Yeah, and so either way, I think David Carr has a very bright future ahead of him, and I'm very excited to see his career unfold. Unfortunately, I have to go with Hewgley, who is very proven in the national tournament. He's definitely a guy that shows up on the main stage and does well. And so I'm taking Hewgley to pass through to the finals with maybe like a 3-1 decision over David Carr.
I got Hewgley as well.
So no matter what our brackets did, we ended up in the same place, right? We've both got Deacon Hewgley in the finals, but I was very excited that you picked different than me here because this is a conversation that needs to be had. You picked Ryan Deacon to win this weight. And why did you pick Ryan Deacon to take out Hewgley?
Deacon destroyed Hewgley at Cliff Keen.
It's Hewgley.
Hewgley. I got Trent on the podcast next Monday. I'll ask him.
You ask him. You better say it right because I worked at NC State for a summer.
Hewgley?
It's Hewgley. So you're just going off that past matchup?
Yeah, I think Deacon's just been on another level. And I mean, Hewgley has too, but I think Deacon, I think it was in the finals of Cliff Keen. I think it was something like 7-3 or like he took him down pretty easily.
It was a beatdown.
Yeah, he beat him up pretty well. I think Hewgley is able to make some adjustments, but I think Deacon still wins, and it might be it's going to be a closer match this time, but I think Deacon still wins.
Yeah, I don't got time to look it up, but I'm pretty sure, like you said, I think it was like 7-3. But if I remember correctly, I think it was like 5-3, and then Hewgley went for a takedown in the last like 30 seconds and ended up giving up another one. So I think it was a little bit closer than we may have seen. It was definitely a very controlled win by Deacon. No argument about it. But for me,
6-2 was the score.
6-2. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think it was 4-2, and I think that there was an attempt by Hewgley at the end that didn't end up working out. But I think that for me, when I got down to this match, I love Ryan Deacon, man. I think he's awesome. I'm pulling for him. I'd love to see him do great things. I'd love to see him win national titles. But for me, what I see when I think national finals, or I think national tournament, and these two names, I think of Ryan Deacon getting beat by Caleb Young twice last year, which to me, Caleb Young is not a finalist caliber guy. And I see, Deacon's struggles in the past where he's kind of dropped some matches he shouldn't. And then I see the consistency of Hewgley at the national tournament. All right. I'm not talking like the regular season doesn't matter very much. I'm talking about just the finals the last 3 years, or just the national tournament the last 3 years. I've seen Deacon slip up and take bad losses, and I have not seen that from Hewgley. I've seen Hewgley go out there and make it to the finals undefeated as a freshman, and lose a very close match with Jason Nolf, which people discount. And then I see the next year making it to the semifinals and losing another very close match, controversial match with Jason Nolf that could have went the other way.
Yeah.
And then, he's just the model of consistency at these tournaments. He does super well on the big stage. And I can see Hewgley going out there, getting, his defense, blocking some shots from Deacon early, and then kind of settling into his own and getting a couple of takedowns and winning the match. So I got Hewgley, maybe like a score of like a 4-2.
I could definitely see that happening. Like you said, Hewgley's more proven at the national tournament.
Yeah. Cool. And then, on the backside for me, losing in the blood round, I have Early losing in the blood round, Sheets, Humphreys, and Young. I actually have Caleb Young losing in the blood round to Kendall Coleman, which he beat earlier this year. But again, I'm seeing national tournament like slip ups and, the direction that Young's season has been trending. So unfortunately, I have him not making it on the podium. But I have, at the end of the day, I have Teamer getting 7th over Della Vecchia, Rob getting 5th over Kendall Coleman. 3rd place, I have Quincy Monday taking out David Carr.
I got my blood round. I got Early over Della Vecchia, Young over Sheets, Rob over Humphreys, and Coleman over Hewgley. And then I got Young over Early, Coleman over Rob, Young over Carr gets his revenge, and then Hartman over Coleman. I got Rob beating Early for 7th, Carr beating Coleman for 5th, and Young beating Hartman for 3rd.
Nice. Very nice. So you got Young getting 3rd place, and I got him not All-American.
I got him getting some revenge.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't have. Wait, you got Monday getting 3rd. I don't have Monday, so we're even.
Whatever. You're wrong. All right, we'll move on. So moving on to 65. Boom! I just dropped a bomb. If you're watching this on video, please check out my bracket and look at over where it says champion. If you're just listening, unfortunately, I'm going to make you wait until I get there. But if you're watching, check it out and
watch the video, folks,
and love it. Yeah, watch the video. Video is going to be on hmawrestling.com. Go over and check it out. But let's go through. So, a big first round matchup for me that kind of stood out was where's it at? 96, about 96. Cale McCormick and number 12, Ethan Smith. Ethan Smith from Ohio State, 19-13 this year is an awful record for him. That's definitely one of the ones that looks a lot worse than it really is. He's had a lot of really top guys that he's wrestled this year at good matches. He took out David McFadden at one point in the year, and Cale McCormick has been just a model of consistency for Army. Has really had a good year, and is a guy that I really like to watch wrestle. I got Ethan Smith winning this match, though. What about you?
Yeah, I got Smith as well. I think, like you said, McCormick's tough Army guy, but I got to take Smith.
Yeah. So, in order to go a little bit quicker, we're going to go the second round match. In the second round, I have in the first quadrant Marinelli taking out Canigliaro of Harvard, and I have Wick taking out Schedule of Navy. What do you have?
I got that as well, except I had Hartman beating Canigliaro.
You just like guys named Hartman, man. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, so that's for both of us. We're going to set up a Marinelli-Wick quarterfinal. Second quadrant, White and Smith. So I have Isaiah White taking out Ethan Smith. They've wrestled twice this year. White's won both of them. I see no reason to pick otherwise. And then in the next match, I have Travis Whitlake, the 4 seed from Oklahoma State, fantastic freshman, taking out Quentin Perez of Campbell. So it sets me – or who do you have?
I got White over Smith and Whitlake over Perez.
Cool. So we both, in that top side of the bracket, have the same thing. We have White and Whitlake set up in the quarterfinals. And then down at the bottom, I have Shane Griffith taking out Andrew Fogarty. And I have Josh Shields taking out Jake Wenzel. How about you?
Got that as well.
Cool. And then the last quadrant, I have David McFadden taking out Thomas Bullard. Although Bullard did beat David McFadden earlier this year, I have McFadden winning that one. And then I have Vincenzo Joseph taking out Kennedy Monday. Sorry, Kennedy, but I don't see you taking out the number 2 seed this year.
Yeah, I got those as well. I think I don't know. McFadden might have been sick or hurt or something in the middle of the year. He got tech fouled by Kennedy Monday and then lost to Bullard. He had a couple other bad losses. Maybe he's sick or injured or something. But I think he turns around here at the national tournament. I'm able to beat Bullard this time.
Oh, dude, I would love to see Kennedy Monday take out Shenzo.
That'd be amazing.
But there's a difference in 2 seed between Joey LaValle and Vincenzo Joseph. So, anyways, quarterfinals. Marinelli Wick. They've wrestled 4 times. Marinelli's won 3. What do you see happening?
Marinelli.
Marinelli just gets to that pop double at will against Wick and is able to finish it. So he wins that match for me. The next one was a really, really tough decision for me. Isaiah White, Travis Whitlake. I ended up taking Travis Whitlake just because I've seen enough of Isaiah White. I've seen Isaiah White do the same thing every single match. He has fantastic defense. He basically plays the let me pick my spot and get one takedown and then just not let anybody come close to me game. And he does it well. But Travis Whitlake, very, very highly touted recruit coming into Oklahoma State, has had a great year this year. It's 27-2. His only losses being Shane Griffith and Alex Marinelli, both super close matches. Came down to a last period takedown. And I'm going to take Travis Whitlake just because of how well he's performed with the top guys versus, we know what Isaiah White is.
Yeah, I differ from you here. I got White over Whitlake. I think White's just been around a couple years. Whitlake's still a freshman. I think White gets Whitlake here, and I think White has just been around a couple years, has some more experience, and has been on the big stage before. And I think he'll be able to prevail and get Whitlake this time. Yeah,
I can see it going either way. But I got Marinelli Whitlake in the semis, and you got Marinelli White. Moving down to the bottom, I have Shane Griffith taking out Josh Shields. Josh Shields has been around for a while, senior for the Sun Devils, has been very consistently good, and I have him All-Americaning, but it's going to stop here on the front side for me. Shane Griffith coming into this year, or coming into this tournament, is 28-0. He's going to improve to 30-0 with a win over Josh Shields. How about you?
Yeah, I got Griffith as well. I think he's just been unbelievable freshman this year, undefeated. I definitely got to take him over Shields.
Yeah. Down at the bottom, David McFadden, Vincenzo Joseph. Good matchup. McFadden's pretty dynamic, but at the end of the day, Vincenzo is a 2-time national champion, and he knows how to get it done. He knows how to shine under the bright lights, and he takes out McFadden for me in probably like a 5-2 match.
Yeah, I got that as well. I got Joseph and McFadden.
Cool. All right, semifinals. Top semifinal, Marinelli Whitlake for me. I see it going. I think it could happen. Right, this is definitely a thing that could happen. Whitlake could take out Marinelli because it came down. It was a 2-2 match last time, and Marinelli ended up getting that pop double right at the end, the last like 30 seconds to win the match. Could definitely see it flipping the script, especially with Marinelli's troubles at the national tournament. But I'm going to take Marinelli here. He won the last one. He's going to win this one.
Yeah, I got Marinelli White. I think it was a real close match last time. Great match. He scored that pop double right at the end. I think he's able to prevail and beat White again to make it to the finals.
Cool. Down at the bottom, let's let you go first. Down at the bottom.
All right. This is our second Stanford Penn State semi in the same spot, bottom side. I think this would have been a great match to see just because, like you said, with Real Woods, Nickley, just because of the unknowns, we don't really know much. Griffith hasn't had too much high level competition this year, but he has had some. Undefeated come in, just see where he is with the guys like Joseph. And before we started recording, you were saying that Joseph and Griffith met in Griffith's redshirt year at Scuffle, and Griffith only lost like 4-2 or something. So he's definitely been proven, I guess, with the high level guys. So I'd just like to see this match. I got Joseph though. I think Joseph performs on the big stage.
All right. Here it goes. I'm about to blow up the wrestling world. If you're listening to this, then you are tuning into possibly one of the biggest upsets, or me fantasizing about one of the biggest upsets of all time. I have Shane Griffith taking out Vincenzo Joseph with a sudden victory takedown. Like you said, they have met once before, and it was in. This is Shane Griffith's redshirt freshman year, right? And so as a redshirt freshman, if he makes it to the semifinals, at this point, he's sitting at 30-0. In his redshirt freshman year, I believe he was 21-2 or something right around there. And so the kid is coming into his semifinal match, 50-something wins, 2 losses in his career, and those 2 losses, they were in red shirts, so they technically don't count. But those 2 losses, one of them was kind of a head scratcher, early in his redshirt freshman year. It happens. And then the other one was to Vincenzo Joseph in the Southern Scuffle finals, I believe. Semifinals or finals. I remember watching that match, and that is where I really jumped on the Griffith train because that was a great match, and it came down to a Chenzo takedown in the third period, but could have went either way. And I see another year under their belt. Shane Griffith has been destroying people. I see him coming in, getting a sudden victory takedown with Chenzo, ending Chenzo's hope at a third national title in the semifinals. Shane Griffith moving on to the finals, where he will face the Bull.
Yeah, I got Vincenzo. I think, like I said earlier, he's been on this big stage before. I think he's able to perform and beat Griffith.
For me, every year, I think everybody can back me up here. Every year we have people make the finals that we don't think are going to make the finals, yeah. Right? I'm not necessarily saying a 30 seed makes the finals, right? But we're just saying, there's brackets where we're like, oh, these 2 guys are going to be the finals, and then that doesn't end up happening, right? And it can happen to anybody, right? I remember Jesse Delgado, 2-time national champion, not making the finals the senior year. In fact, not even All-Americaning. And so it can happen to anybody. And for me, this is my big upset to make the finals. And I don't think it's not a crazy upset, right? I'm not picking a 20 seed to make it. Shane Griffith's had a great year, but him beating Vincenzo was a huge upset.
Yeah.
And I'm taking Shane Griffith to make the finals of Alex Marinelli, and not only make the finals. I'm taking Shane Griffith to win the whole darn thing. Shane Griffith makes the finals as a freshman, 31-0, moves to 32-0, and takes his first national title over Alex Marinelli. I love Alex Marinelli. I think he's fantastic. I would love to see him get a national title before he leaves. For me, once I got Griffith into the finals with Alex Marinelli, I see the inconsistency Marinelli has had at his last two NCAA tournaments, where he's, coming 7th and 8th or 7th and 5th or something like that, where he's, been a top guy. And I can't unsee him. I find it really hard to believe that he's first 2 years he comes into the national tournament as one of the favorites and ends up a low All-American, and then all of a sudden he just puts it together and has a Cinderella run. I think that he gets tripped up again, and so in the finals he gets tripped up by Shane Griffith, another very close match, maybe a 3-2 match, but Shane Griffith holds on to become the second national champion. This second year in a row with a freshman national champion at 165, setting up a historic bracket next year with Shane Griffith and Mekhi Lewis.
Griffith will win a national title before he leaves college, but not this year. Marinelli was winning. I haven't beaten Joseph. I think Shane Griffith, like I said, I'm really high on him. I think he's definitely the freshman of the year, but not this year. I think once Marinelli's gone, I think him and Mekhi will have some battles. I think he could definitely win one once Marinelli leaves, but I think Marinelli is just maybe too strong for him. I think Marinelli gets him. Well, actually, I have Joseph, but if it was Marinelli, Griffith. But I got Marinelli over Joseph anyways.
Cool. Man, how spoiled are we as wrestling fans? How set up are we to see? You realize next year, not only will we have one more year of Marinelli, but we will have Shane Griffith, Travis Whitlake, and Mekhi Lewis all as sophomores. Not only all here, but all the same year for the next 3 years. Right? Like, that's unbelievable. And I can see all three of those dudes taking each other out.
That's going to be crazy.
That's going to be fun. But real quick, going through the back, I have on the backside losing in the blood round, so not becoming an All-American, Bullard. I have Fogarty, Smith, and Schedule all losing out in the blood round. And then at the end of the day, I end up having White taking out Shields in the 7th place match, Wick taking out Whitlake in the 5th place match, and Griffith taking – no. I have Chenzo taking out McFadden in the 3rd place match.
I got Whitlake over Bullard in the blood round, Wick over Wenzel, Smith over McFadden. I don't even have McFadden All-American. I think Smith is able to get him again, like he did in the duel.
Could definitely happen.
And then I got Shields over Schedule. And then so Wick over Whitlake, Smith over Shields, Griffith over Wick, White over Smith. And I got Whitlake taking out Shields for 7th, Wick taking out Smith for 5th, and Griffith taking out White for 3rd.
Sweet. Yeah. Man, I would have loved to see this bracket too.
Yes.
I really do believe in Shane Griffith and think that he could have done this. I didn't pick this just to like pick it and be crazy and whatever. I truly believe in Shane Griffith and his ability to beat any guy in this bracket. And so I would have loved to see it play out. But anyways, that is our wrap up of 141, 149, 157, and 165. Make sure that you check this episode out and not only listen to it on the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can find HMA Wrestling Podcast, but check it out on the website, hmawrestling.com. Watch our videos so you can see our brackets. We will also post those brackets out with the links to the podcast. But make sure you check it out, give it a like, give it a share. Let us know what you think. Let me know how crazy I am for picking Shane Griffith to win 165. And please argue all of Dysen's picks because they are all wrong. But yeah, let us know, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are, and make sure you tune in because our next episode, which will probably drop tomorrow, will be 174 through 285. And not only will me and Dyson be on, but we will also be joined by our main man Jude Swisher to make some picks. And I know that Dyson's going to have as much fun picking on Jude as I am.
Oh yeah.
I
Hey, by the way, Michael Kemmerer beat Mark Hall. If you didn't know.
Yeah, dude. I love picking on Lollipop.
I don't know if we can do that anymore because Hall beat him at Big Tens. But
we can still do it.
We can do it.
We're still gonna do it.
He got Carvered again.
He's about to get Carvered a third time. Yeah. Anyways, so that'll wrap up our episode right here on 141 through 165. Let us know what you think, and tune in tomorrow to hear us pick on Jude. Thanks, everybody.